Alright, I'm recording.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
love how we started talking about what topics to talk about, and then we just start going into it. So might as well just record and put it out. So I was asking you, have you seen the new Sylvanas? Sorry, have you seen the new Sanctum of Domination cutscene,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
progresses the Sylvanas storyline?
Progresses it, meaning like makes her a good guy again. For the last like however many expansions, she's been evil, right? That's
Right. Yeah. I mean, arguably she's been evil since Arthas turned her into the Banshee Queen, right?
yeah.
Like,
I don't know enough about that story. Like I found out about
yeah.
that a couple expansions
Well,
ago.
okay, all right. Just for argument's sake, though, the Horde have always been the bad guys in WoW.
Yeah. Yes. They're
It's
monsters.
only they're beasts of the wild.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how they have any language skills at all. You have to suspend disbelief to believe that Loktar means anything like meaningful.
Yeah.
But regardless, like it was only what, like 5 expansions in that they really started to like try to make it seem like the Horde maybe weren't the bad guys after all, and maybe like the Alliance were actually the aggressors and the bad guys.
Yeah, dude. I feel like that's a whole other conversation though about like a bigger picture. Everyone in their goals has to be valid, and everyone's
Right.
goals are not valid. Is like the real crux of it. Like
Yes.
Blizzard tries to validate the Horde as being like as justified in their actions as the Alliance, but what the Horde does is mostly like bad shit. Like they do bad
Yeah.
things. Like
Yeah.
they like blow up towns.
I,
It's not
I
good.
I guess what I'm saying is like Sylvanas was the leader of the Forsaken
Yeah.
and residing in Undercity, right? Like from the beginning of WoW up until, a couple expansions ago.
For anyone
And
that came, for just to clarify, for anyone that just played World of Warcraft, yes. Like if you never went into the lore or anything like that, your understanding of Sylvanas was that she ran Undercity. She was like the boss of
oh
Undercity,
god.
basically.
Well,
Like
I
you,
mean, shit, dude,
she's bad.
that's only if you played WoW like 15 years ago, because currently and for the last like 4 or 5 years
Yeah,
she's been like a major character in the storyline, right? And
yeah.
like, well, I mean, she's still been evil, I
Mm-hmm.
would say. Here's the thing: she's been evil, dude. The Horde were the bad guys. They are the
Yeah,
bad guys in
yeah,
WoW.
yeah, yeah.
Any attempt to like make it a gray area and make them not the bad guys is stupid and wrong. It just is. Anyone who signed up to play Horde 15 years ago knew that they were playing the bad guys.
But like, but that's Blizzard's whole angle, though, is like they're saying the Horde isn't bad. They were manipulated by Sylvanas. So like Sylvanas was bad. The Horde
Oh
isn't
my
bad.
god.
I think that was the thing, right? It's
But
like,
they were doing bad things before Sylvanas was like directing them to do so.
yeah, but they're whitewashing it, dude. Like it's not about. It's like they're trying to make. I mean, Horde is more. There's more people playing Horde than Alliance, so it makes sense that they're going to want to like at least make you feel like you're not a piece of shit for playing the faction, you know.
Mhm.
And I think like the idea was we need a bad guy from the Horde that's gonna, but well, not even a bad guy. I think like we need a character. They knew where they were going, which is outer space. We're leaving Azeroth and going to outer space, and they're like,
Right.
who's gonna take us there? Because
Yeah.
we've killed off all the characters that we love. We've killed off along the way. Like
Yeah.
Varian died. The Lich King died. Thrall. I don't even know what the fuck's going on with Thrall. I feel like people just don't connect with Thrall that much. They needed
Yeah.
like a hot sort of like they need to like appeal like to the anime kids and to like the diehard WoW kids at the same time. And so they settled on Sylvanas, and they're like, this is the character that's going to take us through all of these different weird things that we're going to do. She's the through line of everything,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like it's all been about like this big Sylvanas plan. And so like like we've talked about this for a couple of years, like her redemption is inevitable because
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
But it's annoying though.
it's annoying, but like also like at the same time, like I don't want a brand new every single expansion. I don't want to have to deal with brand new main characters, right? Like I want the same old faces, and
Yeah.
so it's like
Yeah.
yeah,
All right. Well, let's talk about where the story of Shadowlands is, or like I guess the last couple expansions, right? Because at a certain point, in Legion, Zul'jin dies, And while he's dying, he basically hands over leadership of the Horde to Sylvanas.
Yeah.
And he believes that the Loa have told him this, but in reality, it's like, the old gods or some demonic force or whatever.
Right.
So Sylvanas is now War Chief, I guess is the title, right?
Mm-hmm.
War Chief, by the way, War Chief. That's her title, not King, Queen, not like President.
Yeah.
War Chief.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she takes over, and some of her first acts include like burning the world tree and committing genocide against the Night Elves.
Mm-hmm.
While she did work with the Alliance to, fight the Burning Legion, like she's still like underhandedly taking out the Alliance the whole way.
Yeah.
And then we find out that she's in league with this new character that they've introduced called the Jailer, who's the big bad of the Shadowlands expansion.
Right.
And so part of what she was doing, burning the world tree down, was like sending all the souls to this weird like purgatory that we're all in, the Shadowlands, and where the Jailer could kind of use them to gain power and take over.
So she's like she's paying the Jailer. The Jailer's like, I need this from you. If I'm gonna help you, you got to help me. Give me these souls or whatever.
Right. At no point has Blizzard or has her motivation ever truly been explored. I would argue. I mean, maybe it has in some like obscure lore thing that I'm not aware of, but like other than just being evil.
Yeah.
Like being evil embodied, like we don't know why she's in league with the Jailer and why she's trying to do what she does, right? So then cut to in this latest raid that's been put out, after you defeat Sylvanas, which by the way, it's not defeating, you just get her to like 45% and then the cutscene starts. The Jailer like pops out of nowhere and he's like, fuck this, I have the power that I need or whatever. And then Sylvanas, he said he like declares his plan to like recreate reality as we know it. And Sylvanas is like, you don't need to go that far. Like all of a sudden she's like,
you have everything you need.
Yeah, you have everything you need. You don't need to go that far, Jailer. Yeah. And the Jailer's like, bitch, the fuck? And basically the Jailer's like, you're gonna serve, and then that like triggers her. Literally, she's like remembering Arthas telling her she's gonna serve, and then she just like out of nowhere like fires an arrow at this guy that like presumably she's been in league with for like a very, very long time.
Sure.
To commit her evil acts.
Sure.
And then he catches the arrow, breaks it, and then pulls like a crystal out of the nether, and that crystal apparently has like the other part of her soul that's been missing since the Lich King killed her.
Yeah.
And that part of her soul is like the good part. And so he crushes it, restoring it, and he's like, I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to leave your fate in the hands of these other heroes. Sure. And then he bounces to like go recreate reality or whatever.
Yeah.
So then she's left with like all the heroes of the Alliance and the Horde who have like caught up with her so far, and who she's betrayed, all of them, by the way. Like everyone hates Sylvanas.
Yeah.
But she has her soul back, and that's where the cutscene ends.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I think we all saw this coming, right? Because like
it's crazy though.
Yeah, but like
crazy.
It's crazy, but like I think that's because we're examining it way too closely. We need to take a step back and not think about it so much. And that's like no, dude, that's like the biggest problem that Blizzard has. Like that's like Blizzard's big problem though. Is like on one hand,
start thinking, you're like, this doesn't make any sense.
Well, yeah, like because exactly, dude. Because on one hand, you have diehard fans that are gonna sit there and they're gonna analyze every single piece of lore, just like the game. They're gonna break down all the mechanics. You know what I mean? They're gonna like be like,
dude. And there's some great videos where they quote things from like little tomes that you can read on bookshelves, like in the middle of nowhere,
which is super cool. Like, and I think
cool.
I think that appeals to some people, and I think most people, or well, I don't know, or say most, but maybe like say half the player base doesn't give a shit about the story.
Right.
They want some sort of continuity because otherwise your brain is like, what am I seeing? So you need to like carry these things through. You're carrying like, this is the thing that happened last time. Remember that? Well, now this thing is happening. It's not even, I don't think like there's any reason to even like, it's a bad story because it's a game that's been going on for such a long time that they don't have like, there's no clear like, in game, because there is no in game. They're just trying to draw this thing out for literally as long as they possibly can. Like the jailer has no meaning. He's nothing. He's like the Lich King. Right. He's like the Lich King, a cooler Lich King. Like we get to see his face,
except you don't have like the emotional attachment to him because you've never seen him before.
No, we're supposed to have emotional attachment to other characters, which is like, you know, at some point it becomes
weird that the big baddie is only there for like 2 years, and then the new expansion comes out, and
I think that's Blizzard's, dude. Like that's the problem with like, it's not the problem. Like Blizzard 10 years ago in their prime when they had whatever 12 million subscribers and were fighting Arthas, like there's nowhere to go from there. Like Arthas should be what we're fighting now, but the problem is Blizzard knew, and they weren't wrong, which is that 10 years from now, are we going to have as many players as we have right now, or do we just blow our load? And like, not to be crude, but like, do we bring out Arthas? Do we bring out Illidan right away? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to fight all the big known baddies right away, and from there, you have to carry through characters for the people that aren't paying attention. The people that are paying attention are going to be screaming bloody murder the entire time, which they've been doing for like literally 10 years. Like you can go back and watch, you know, YouTube videos of people being like, this doesn't make any sense. Like last expansion, when the Tower of Mordor fell, like Cthulhu's eye, it literally was like Lord of the Rings, and the dragon was the Black Prince or whatever, the Dragonflight. I don't know the guy's name. He was like diving through the tentacles and like I don't know if you saw his cinematic. Didn't see he stabbed the eye. It was one of those moments also where I'm like, how old am I, and am I still playing this game? But it was just like, you know, this is where we are. Like that's why I don't pay attention to story in WoW. It's like, so, you know, so I know what's going on, but I also am like, I don't take it seriously because there's no merit to it. They're trying to like, they have like two different masters, right? And they're trying, and instead of like choosing one and going all in on lore like Final Fantasy, which I don't even know if Final Fantasy does that, but like some game that does do that, they're trying to go the middle ground. It doesn't work in this case. It sort of works. I mean, they have enough players still, and we're here talking about it.
Do you think they should just simplify it? Like, just keep it a super simple, like, sword and sorcery type story where it's like, here's a bad guy. Like, here are the main players of the story of WoW. Where there's, like, 20 heroes, 10 on each side. And, like, each expansion, we just dive in a little bit more to one of them.
Well, yeah. And I think, like scale is obviously an issue, which, you know, we both are aware of in that game. Scale is, like, gotten out of control, both with, like, power and gear and everything like that. But yeah, the scale of the story, I think people can't visualize like what's happening. We're off of Azeroth. Like no one even knows where we are anymore. You try to like fly to you don't even know how to get to places, you know, there's like 10 different worlds. I don't know. It's just,
I mean, you can't even travel zone to zone because they're not connected now. Like they're literally in the ether.
Yeah. But that's all to say, like, could we do a better job in that role? I don't think so, dude. Like, I think like they're in a tough spot, you know, they have to sort of, I honestly, like, I find it very entertaining. I watch the cinematics because I'm curious about where they're going to go next. And like, it makes me laugh when I watch it out loud, but I'm also like, I am invested and I am curious to see like where it goes. You know, I don't think it's like, if there's no Sylvanas, like there's going to be always someone like Sylvanas, because we need that familiarity, you know? But like the story itself, it's like our characters can't die. So nothing matters. That's my final thought.
That's a good place to end it.
I don't know. That was, yeah, it's been a while. I was just kind of ranting.
My last thought on what you were building on is like I agree with you that Blizzard is in a weird predicament with WoW, partially because like the world that they initially built did reference all these like cosmic powers and like warlocks that like different like classes that embrace different types of magic and like where those magic come from, right? Like light, shadow, like fell power, arcane energy, like all these different things. Ultimately, you have to go to a place where you explore where those might be from and like how we got here. Sure. And now we're there, and it's weird to be off of Azeroth doing this stuff. And it's so funny because it didn't feel weird when we were like in Outland back in the day.
No.
but now it does.
Yeah.
Maybe because the game is so old and so expansive and large and so disjointed, especially after Cataclysm like ruined the world and changed it permanently. Yeah, it just feels super disjointed, and I did feel the same way in BFA, even though that's on Azeroth.
Yeah.
And in Legion too, to an extent, especially once you start going to Argus. Like I don't know, it's an interesting problem, and yeah, I don't think we're equipped to solve it for sure. And ultimately, I'm with you. Like, best not to think about it. Best to just log in, do your dailies, collect some loot, and log out for the day.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's like the move, right? Like you're aware kind of generally about what's happening, but you can't overanalyze it because it's just not meant to be overanalyzed. It's a very simple story that's also very complex just because of how long the game's been out. So it keeps getting more and more complex. But at the end of the day, it's about nothing, so your character can become stronger, and so you can kill bigger, stronger bad guys. All you need to know is that the next bad guy you kill is stronger than the last, and like that's the game. Like that's any game, it's every game. And this game, it's an interesting problem that like fantasy faces in general, I feel like, because fantasy people that play fantasy games, well, I don't want to make like broad generalizations, but I would say probably like are more into like a narrative type story. Like you want to have this kind of like, the hero's journey. That's what this is. Like it's literally that just played out in Azeroth. And when it starts getting more convoluted, I think people don't really fucking care, honestly. Like I think we're sitting here analyzing this. I don't think anyone cares. Like like Sylvanas can fire an arrow. Like I don't know. Like, I think the game, like, I think given where the game is, I'm impressed. Like, I'm excited to see where it goes next.
Yeah, same, actually.
Yeah, I am. Like, I'm genuinely, I'm curious.
I hope it's some conspiracy theory thing where, like, the jailer reconstructing reality is, like, now they're going to introduce, like, a new WoW.
Dude, the dumber the better. Like, at this point, let's just, let's keep just going down this path. Okay, Sylvanas is the next like King of Stormwind. It doesn't matter. Like let's put her in, give her the crown. Anduin is off the rails. So
he is.
And what's funny is that
he cries in like every scene.
Well, that's what's so funny to me too, is like it almost feels like they're making him unlikable. It's like the like all of his masculinity has been absorbed by Sylvanas. Like that's her actual power, is like absorbing masculinity, and she just like saw Anduin and was like and just, you know what I mean? And just started fucking firing arrows after that. And he's like, whatever he does. I don't know what he does. He's possessed now, but it's, like strange path we're on.